Democratic Congresswoman Norma Torres. Norma, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today.
Yeah, we all saw everything that unfolded this weekend. Please tell us your role. I understand you and Representative Gomez tried to enter the Metropolitan Detention Center. Tell us what you were planning to do there, and I understand you guys weren't able to enter.
Absolutely. We arrived at downtown Los Angeles at the federal building there, 300 Los Angeles Street. I arrived personally between 8 and 8:30, and I canvassed the entire 6-block area and did not see a single protester, mostly looking for, parking is why I drove around so much between that time. And at 8:30 in the morning, there were 4 members of Congress, and we began calling and asking to be allowed in, to be invited in, and to be given a briefing as to the incidents that occurred the night before. Look, ICE has been sent to Los Angeles and to other communities around the LA basin to violently arrest indiscriminately people of color, mostly Latinos, simply because of how they look. They have no warrants, they don't provide due process, and they do not even give an opportunity for their families to be able to utilize the searchable database to find out if their loved ones was even a part of the raid. So we began at 8:30 in the morning communicating with folks there, who then proceeded to tell us to move to the side door so that we can be allowed in, and they would give us more information. Well, we were there communicating through text messages. This is the photo that you are seeing there. We provided them IDs. There were 4 members of Congress, our staff members. There were 2 nonprofit organizations, and there were several attorneys that were there. A total probably maybe 15, 20 people that were there. These are business people that were there to ask questions about other things. But only 4 members of Congress requested entry. We were held there, and eventually, after we held a press conference, they began to deploy a chemical agent that I guess it was in an effort to try to get us to move out of the location. It is incredible that they gave us instructions to move to that side door, and then they violently responded by utilizing this chemical agent to scare members of Congress and their staffs. What I have to say is that there were more video cameras there from reporters, national and international reporters that were there during that time than people, members of Congress and other people. So the fact that the ICE director is now coming out and saying there were, 1,000 people, over 1,000 people surrounding that area, that is a absolute lie. It is our job to request oversight. It is our job to ask the tough questions. ICE has been conducting and arresting people for many years throughout our entire state of California. The difference then was that they came with a warrant, they came with a name, a specific person. They took that person, they processed them, that name went into a database. It was done in an orderly fashion. What we are seeing today is that Donald Trump, remember 5 years ago, we had people in the streets demonstrating violently. Who was in office? Donald Trump. And here we are again today with Donald Trump in office, encouraging violence. And we must hold this administration accountable for any local officers that are injured as a result of his tactics, and also financially responsible for refunding all of the businesses that have shuttered through this process and all of the losses to the city of Los Angeles.
It is such an emotional issue and highly politicized. I do need to ask you, though, a number of conservatives are asking for your removal from Congress because of a video you posted to social media demanding ICE agents get, quote, the expletive out. Can't use the word. But what do you have to say to critics? And do you have any regret over posting that video?
Absolutely not. Exactly what I said was ICE get the F out of Los Angeles so that we can restore order. Now, Los Angeles is a complicated community. Look, I worked there as a 911 dispatcher for 17 and a half years. There are so many different groups with many different agendas. No one knows and understands the city of Los Angeles better than the Los Angeles Police Department and the local leaders there in the community. What we need is an opportunity for those local leaders and the police department to calm things down. That cannot happen while ICE continues to conduct these illegal raids and disappearing people violently. So the only way we're going to be able to calm this down is if ICE retracts and comes back following the law. Get your, get your papers in order, get your warrants, provide due process, and do your job. But when you come in armed to the teeth, when you come in covering your faces, when you come in with vehicles that have no license plates and you provide no information as to who is behind that mask, for all we know, it could be the January 6th insurrectionists that now have been given authority. And why do I think that? Because that is exactly who Donald Trump is. He empowers these folks that he knows are going to violently attack our communities for the purpose of his entertainment.
Representative Torres, I know this is a very controversial issue. Thank you so much for joining us with your experience and insight from the weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.